What is going on, Walk-ins Welcome family? Welcome to the special edition 200th episode.
This is a 200 episode
of Walk-ins Welcome. Y'all are crazy that y'all have wanted to hear 200 episodes of this podcast, but we do thank you for it.
Absolutely. It's hard to believe it's been 200 episodes. One, we're still doing it. That's hard to believe.
Right.
Let's just be honest. But we do it because of you, which sounds the most cliche thing ever. But we get feedback from you guys. Some of you have become clients. When we go out into the event world, you talk to us about it. We've heard people have impacts. We've had guests grow their business because of the podcast,
Which is my favorite thing.
Which is super cool because that's always our intention when we bring on vendors. Like, we want our audience to come to you, right? And so it's just super cool to look at that, and it's hard to believe it's been this long. And so this episode's like a little bit of a reflection episode. So if you're not into that, you can just turn it off. But for those who are true fans, take a listen. Like, we're going to talk about where we started and where we are, because some of it, I can't believe it's 200 episodes, which is just wild to me. But also, we pulled some data. I can't believe it's been as long as it's been since we've been doing this.
Yeah, right.
And a lot has happened since the very first episode. A lot has happened since the first episode.
That's right. Well, I can safely say that this podcast has changed the trajectory of patient care marketing pros.
Yes.
For a multitude of reasons, right?
Mm-hmm.
This podcast has, first of all, one of the best listening audiences in the healthcare space.
Oh yeah.
I have to give you credit. It doesn't matter what we say. It matters that you listen, that you show up, and that you give us feedback.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't see that on the digital side. Like, what I mean by that is we're not getting emails regularly about this. Here's where it really takes place. When we get out into the public,
mm-hmm.
and we go to like a UCA conference, or we show up to a Solve conference or an Xperity conference, or we're going to one of the regional UCA conferences, and we are there present, and you come up to us and you tell us, man, we listen to your podcast and we love it.
Yep.
That's not me bragging on our podcast. That's me saying thank you.
Yeah.
Right. Because that's
we
huge.
appreciate that.
That's huge. Not for the celebrity factor, but from me, and I think I can speak for Michael as well, just for the impact factor.
Yeah. Because, ultimately, we're speaking into microphones and sending off a piece of media, right? We don't know what kind of impact we're making, if any, but when we do hear about it, it's always super cool to hear about it. Even yesterday, we had a client who's in urgent care on the East Coast, and he said, "You guys do the podcast." He named off some episode. He's like, and I know some of these guys. That's super good stuff. So he was excited about it, and it wasn't even prompted. He just wanted to throw it out there. So those type of things are super cool because we recognize too that while some of this we find is like, I think most people know this, but sometimes they just don't, or they like, oh yeah, we should focus on some of those things.
Right,
so
for sure.
We even had one of our very first client that came from the podcast. We finally met them in person at the last UCA event, and it was really cool to meet them, one. And then two was, we just do what they say and it works. And like, hello.
That's fun, standing at a booth and you have a client over there pitching your wares.
Yeah, exactly. He's like talking to his wife, but these are the guys. We're like, oh, hey.
There's a handful of companies that get to experience that. Apple.
Yeah, right.
Where they're going around pimping their phone and all that kind of stuff.
Exactly.
We just don't get to hear from, especially, I don't know what it is about the medical space, specifically the urgent care space. We have a handful of clients that will actively refer us.
Yeah.
Or leave comments or talk about their experiences. But for the most part, y'all are pretty quiet.
Y'all
don't like to tell your secrets or something.
You are kept to yourself.
Right? You don't like to tell people what's working and not working, which is fine. That's okay. Sneak peek, even though this has nothing to do with this episode, it'd be fun to say that we are working on something for 2026 to hopefully break down some of the barriers for our urgent care clinics, for you to stop looking at each other as competitors and start inspiring each other to be better.
Yeah.
That is something that I'm fired up about.
Yeah, exactly. That is something that we're working on. We got to get some feedback on it before we're all in on it. But yes, especially if you're a client of ours and you're listening, just reach out to Hannah and say, what's this thing they're talking about?
That's right.
And we'd love to actually have that information. Anyway,
we're going to spend the entire Q4 this year in 2025 spending time thinking through how can we help our urgent care clinics break down barriers so that we all win, because we believe that a rising tide raises all ships, right? So anyway, continuing that thought process, it's fun to go out into the community. Another place that people show up from the podcast, or when we do discovery calls with you, we don't always know where the discovery calls book from.
Correct.
I mean, we should.
We know. We know.
Somebody knows.
We know almost every time there's some inclination, but then there's also times where I'm not sure where we have to ask.
Yeah.
So
and to hop on a call and for somebody to say, man, we listen to your podcast and we love it.
Yeah.
I have to tell you, that's inspiring to me. It keeps me going on a weekly basis. That's for sure.
Yeah, and it works. And then so what we've learned is the omnipresent approach, which that's not our original idea. That came from a Josh Nelson at Seven Figure Agency,
specifically from Jim Aline. Roofer Marketers.
And so the idea is that we want to hit you guys at all channels, and the podcast is a core piece of that the channels, because it's weekly content. One, but two. It's active, it's very relevant information that we're trying to bring to the table on a regular basis, and then we're trying to bring people in. But when you catch us on the podcast and you go find an article about urgent care, and then you go engage with our Facebook ad because you were already looking for stuff, I see you people. It's harder to escape, and then that's by design. But also, we love the industry, so it's not like a one-size situation. We want to help the industry. There's some things that Hannah's working on right now that would help the urgent care industry in the state of Alabama
as a whole.
Yeah, as a
the
whole.
Industry, independent of marketing, independent of sales, independent of any of that. I wish I could make an announcement about that.
Yeah,
but she's got to get it ironed.
There's a lot of things to move there, but she's made the first step, and we're fully supporting her.
I'll say this.
Yeah,
it is with advocacy on behalf of urgent care that has nothing to do with us. That's how dug into the industry. My team, I didn't ask her to do it.
Yep.
I didn't tell her that this is a part of our marketing strategy. I didn't say this is going to help us get new clients.
Yeah.
She came to me and she goes, I want to be an advocate for the urgent care industry. And that's a testament to the team that we've built.
Yeah, and she was, I never would have thought I would have fallen in love with this industry the way
Who would have thought?
Yeah.
Right.
This may be an episode about Hannah before we know it.
It may be.
But so real quick. So obviously we're just kind of reminiscing a little bit, right? And talking about the future stuff. So, but I want to throw some by the way, this is what's happened since this podcast started, some stuff right there. So we pulled some analytics on the podcast. We had ChatGPT look at some stuff for us, and it kind of just brought some things to the table. But what's fascinating is that we know the story of some of these things since that episode aired long ago. So a couple of things I want to note. So our number one podcast episode in terms of listens was actually November 17th, 2021.
Who'd have thought?
Which was only 2 weeks post our first episode of November 3rd, 2021. Man, we were bringing in urgent care on episode 3.
Apparently y'all were starving for content.
Anyway. But it was with Betsy Stewart, who's at the time with Main Street Family Care. She is no longer with. So in 4 years, she's no longer with that company. I don't know where she is actually. And then we've also interviewed her replacement, essentially, on the podcast this year. I think it was this year,
right?
And so a lot's happened since then. But you guys, but at the end of the day, you guys love the fact of here's the real marketing director for a large urgent care system. There's a lot of information out there. So it was super cool to see that, but so much has changed in 4 years.
I think what's funny about that story specifically is that I remember when she left the company, I remember their vice president of operations or something like that called me up.
Yep.
Called me.
Yeah, literally called you.
Called me and said, "Hey, we're not going to hire you." That's how he left.
We're not hiring you, but we want your information.
But we need your help finding a director of marketing, and we thought you might know some folks. And we must have sent 3 or 4 interviews his way of just people in the industry that we knew were incredible marketers, that were, their marketing skills were attached to one company, not like us where we're dealing with multiple clinics, right? And for them to, I believe they even made a hire out of that.
Yeah.
So they made a hire out of just us being connected in the industry.
Yep.
I just think it's funny. Like that's how they led. We're not going to hire you, but
At least we knew.
hey, we don't have to worry about that then, and we can get down to helping them grow their clinics, right? And we've been able to make an impact. I say they did their own impact. It was nice to be a part of the story of helping them find,
or the fact that they were willing to reach out to us.
Yeah. The confidence that was a confidence boost for me.
Yep. So like that's cool, and that was like 2021. So that was like our number one listened to episode. I mean, and it's people are still listening to it today. Some of it's because one of the first episodes, I'm sure people are just tapping and scrolling. They may recognize the name. But then the second most listened episode is this year, which is the Front Desk Evolution talk.
This year, not too long ago.
Yeah, 3 months ago.
Right.
Yeah, 3 months ago. And it was my recording of my talk at the UCA in Dallas about the Front Desk Evolution and all the changes there. And what's cool about that, so we have been pushing on our clients for a while that, hey, your front desk can make or break your business. And then it finally came to head. We're like, okay, we're going to have to just help some people here because this is not going well. And so we submitted this talk to UCA months prior because they asked for it like 6-8 months ahead of time.
This would have been like in March or April.
Yeah, like it was because they're asking now again.
I'm sorry, I meant when it was finalized.
Yeah. And anyway, and so we did this talk. One, it was a packed out room. Like I think I had 80 people in there or some great. It was a standing room only, so people were just sitting on the floor. So I was talking to a bunch of urgent cares for an hour or 50 minutes, and the cool part was that they confirmed what we were saying. Like they confirmed that, yeah, we have a missed call issue. Yes, we don't look at front desk people as more than just receptionist type people to intake. We don't look at them as like, it's important to the business, but it's not like the what changes our business. And so like it was a huge, and I got the little feedback thing and they all liked it too, which is nice. But then when we aired it, like I said on our podcast, becomes like basically, it will in probably about a week or two, it'll be the number one episode, is my guess. Which means you guys crave this stuff and you believe in it. And it's just crazy to me because all these other top 5 episodes are multi-years old. And then this one's a couple months old.
Well, even since May 28th, which might as well be June.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. So even since June, you've done actual training with teams of our clients on front desk training. This has turned into something.
And it's becoming, and we're still trying to figure it out because we're trying to figure out what makes sense. I've been able to do a handful of trainings with clients, and then I'm talking to one urgent care who's not a client, but I'm going to trade a case study off of them in the talks for that. So, because what we want is here. Hey, you're a client of ours, and we can recognize that you have a front desk issue. We actually have this entire program for you, and at the moment it's free, but we'll have to charge at some point.
Well, especially for your time.
Yeah, exactly, and it's real. So, and the best part is this is not hard stuff. It's just a recognize. Like one of the trainings I went on, and I was able to identify, hey, you have like 3 or 4 front desk people. Yeah, we do. Okay, this person's fantastic. These two, they're not following the rules that you're telling me that are supposed to follow. Oh, they're not. No, they're not. And I'm thinking to myself, you have access to these recordings. Why don't you go? It's because they get busy. They don't think about it. And I said, like, this is a problem. I said, by the way, it looks like they do really well with this particular service by asking for a point. Oh, we require it. Why don't you require this for anything else?
It was like for the one service. It's like immigration physicals.
Yeah, it was just one service. Everything else is like not required.
Right. But what you focus on expands.
Exactly.
What expands changes.
Exactly. Right. And we get to see all this data, all these things, and it just lines up. Like we have clients that are pushing 40, 50, 60+% missed call rates. And they say, well, they're busy. Well, that's cool, but you need a system in place. Like you can't, like you're burning marketing dollars at this point. And you're saying, I don't have enough patient volume. Oh, you have the volume. You're just not bringing them in because you're losing out. Anyway, so like the front desk evolution, evolution was the theme for the UCA, but it's really becoming an evolution to us of how our company is trying to adjust to the needs.
Yep.
Where it's cool when we have an urgent care that has a really good front desk. They're a fantastic client. Right. Like it's just like, hey, it worked really well. Like we have a lot of, hey, we went from 30 patients to 50 patients with you guys. Yeah. And your front desk is really good. So like, yeah, we could see the conversions and we can see it all happening, and you're actually turning them into patients. Imagine that.
That's right.
So yeah, that's becoming a whole thing. That might become my full-time job before it's all said and done. I know
I've got ideas on how to systemize that to where, you'll be brought in on a very high level.
Yeah.
And not on a rudimentary level.
Yeah.
Because I think we can put things in place. I've already got ideas around that.
Yeah. Yeah. And so that's coming. We're in talks with a very large multi-location urgent care that has high interest in this as well. And we're just trying to figure it out. So we're trying to make sure does this make sense? Can we get effectiveness? That's why I'm like, one of these urgent cares, like, how we don't need your services, but I'm really interested in this front desk stuff. And I'm like, well, I'll trade you a case study where I want to know, without anything changing except simply training your front desk, did you have an increase in patient volume? And if it's true and it works out, it's the perfect case study of saying, if you just fix your front desk, you'll fix your patient volume before you even have to talk to us about marketing.
That's right. Well, I mean, somewhere in the tune of 50 to 60%, even in some cases up to 70% of calls go missed.
Yeah.
And just imagine,
There's so many.
If you think about that on a daily volume, and then just imagine if you were able to convert 20% of those calls just by answering the phone into an appointment, it would change your clinic.
Yeah, I mean, and just to throw numbers out, right? So let's say you're a single location that does 1,000 phone calls a month, which is 30-ish calls a day. It's not many calls, you think about it. And they're missing half, so they're only answering 15 phone calls. I start to wonder. Like, I just start to wonder.
Do
like,
they only call at lunch and potty breaks?
Yeah, right. Like, it's only 15 calls. Right. And anyway, so but when you think about it, they're missing half of them. And we're saying maybe you can convert, instead of the 15 that they're missing, you could be able to convert, 4 of them, which is that 20%, right? At 3 to 4. All of a sudden, you have an extra 3 or 4 patients per day times 30.
Right.
Now you have an extra 100 patients, and you didn't have to change staff. You didn't have to spend more marketing dollars. You just had to fix something.
That's good.
So it's just, when you throw the simple math at it, it's just amazing. Anyway, I can go on forever about that. But yeah, so it's just super fascinating. That's our top 2, but then it'll probably be number 1 very shortly. And then after that, it goes back to old stuff, like websites for you get to.
Well, people are going back and listening to these, which blows my mind, even on the websites.
Well, and it's so funny. If you look at our first 10 episodes, it was like we didn't know what we were doing. And so we were like, well, let's talk about marketing for urgent care. Let's talk about SEO for urgent care. Let's talk about
Some people listening would argue that we still don't know what we're doing.
Yeah, that's true. And then Google Ads for urgent care, social media for urgent care. We didn't know. We were just throwing everything at the wall because like this won't last. In our mind, we're like, we'll probably get 20 episodes in and say this is dumb. Well, when our first client came because of the show, we're like, we're in, we're double down.
That's right.
Which is wild to me because the equipment we're on right now is the equipment from 4 years ago. Well, 3 years ago. So the 3-year-old equipment, and which is cool. And we're eventually going to upgrade equipment again. We're going to work on that. But yeah, it's just so
we just need one person to step up and say yes. Yeah. I'm just kidding. That sounds like Sally
help buy us our next set of equipment. No, I'm just kidding. It's fine. But it's just one of those, like, we're trying to, because this past month we've had more views on YouTube than we had listens on the podcast, which is a change in pace for us. So, maybe video is worth more to us.
I'm just afraid we'll get like an HD camera and they'll see what we really look like. I'll be like, back to audio.
Yeah, this is HDS camera.
It's not the first time I've been told I have a face for radio.
There you go. Exactly. Anyway, so just super fascinating how this has kind of turned out for us. And we have more to come. And I will say, I think one of the biggest concerns that we had doing this podcast, we're going to run out of things to talk about. We were convinced of that. We don't know what we're going to talk about. And somehow we've come up with 200 things to talk about.
I've got more to talk about.
Yeah. And I think that we've gotten so deep into the industry. We're like, there's a lot here. And our experiences and our clients over the years, like they've just brought things to our attention we did not know about.
Right.
So it's just a much different animal.
Well, looking at episode 98, that's the 4th most listened to, which is just things to consider when starting your own medical practice. What's funny about that is, I mean, I can't even count the number of calls that I've had with listeners that are either thinking about or in the throes of starting their urgent care. And so this podcast in some ways has become a startup urgent care podcast. We speak a lot about what to do in the first 90 days. We speak a lot about, getting your payer contracts. We talk a lot about what it's going to look like. Just setting up your Google business profile if you don't have your signage up yet. I mean, there's just, we have spent a lot of time helping clinics launch either a brand new or a brand new company or a new location. And it does not shock me when starting your own medical practice is up there on the list, just simply because of the feedback that we've gotten and the listeners that have interacted with us.
Yeah. I mean, it really is amazing how many phone calls, Google Meets, all the things that we've had with people saying, I listened to your podcast and I'm thinking about starting an urgent care. And
then a year and a half later.
Yeah. And then we hear back, hey, I started the urgent care. And then some we don't ever hear from again. We never know. For the ones who have called us that you never called back, did you start your urgent care?
I'd love to know.
I'd love to hear that. I mean, just send us an email and just say, hey, yeah, I did. Here's the name of it. Go check it out.
That's right.
Love to hear that. But had quite a few of those. And I was even looking at some of this other data here where you guys, it was kind of funny. Because we had this broken down by most listens and most engaged. You guys freaking love Google Ads for urgent care.
Right. Well, I mean, that's what drives patient volume, right?
Yeah. So like on back in 2021, we had a very straightforward Google Ads for urgent, which is so much changed since then.
I know. We're going to have to redo this. This is 21.
Yeah. Like our strategy has changed.
Google Ads for urgent care is 2.0.
But anyway, y'all listened to it 135% all the way through, which means you kept going back, which was kind of funny. But then it moved right on to the patient power move, which I don't remember what the patient power.
I can tell you exactly what it is.
Okay, I don't remember.
This was that one of the few ones that is just my pure brainchild. Always book an appointment from an appointment.
Yeah, that's right.
That is the patient power. You want repeat visits? Don't just get them seen and get them out. Get that front desk person to say, "Hey, the doctor wants to see you in 4 days. Let's go ahead and schedule your appointment." And that's the patient power move.
Okay. Yeah, that makes more sense. And then 98% listen to Gen Z marketing, which I think is hilarious that we did that 2 years ago.
I know. That's
wild. We have more Gen Zs now in our office but then.
We need to bring them in to do a panel.
Exactly. Oh, that would be funny. They may not say much.
I can't get them to get in the room. Man.
Yeah, they did it once.
I know.
And then, so we've had, looking at some other stuff. So you guys loved our 90-day marketing plan, clinic launch, which we actually have a talk coming up. Well, you have a talk coming up at Saruka, where it's more about, it's the rescue versus, or am I getting that confused?
No, they've tweaked that to a 90-day clinic rescue.
Yeah.
Which is a clinic. And you know what? It's actually kind of relevant. They're not wrong in their thought process. Here's what we're seeing. A lot of times, Michael, is that when Grace, who, if you've ever called in, that's probably who you've talked to, when Grace gets on with a clinic and she sells that clinic and they're on with us, we find out about 45 to 60 days later, once we fix their patient volume, they're like, we were about to close. You were our last ditch effort. Yeah. I can count at least on one hand, like 5-6 times where that's been the case. Right.
Yeah. And we've had success. We've only had one that the success wasn't ideal and it was out of our control, but, that's how I'm going to place that. But no, it's true.
To protect the innocent.
Yeah. The rescue plan thing is real because, and you know what I'm thinking about? So the timing of a clinic launch type thing where we had a lot of people asking about startups, that was during the COVID days.
Right.
And there was probably a lot of interest in urgent care, of starting an urgent care, because it felt like printing money with COVID.
Well, it was.
Because we fully recognize that, generally speaking, an urgent care does not see true profit, until they hit 20 to 25 patients per day. We recognize that. We've confirmed that with urgent cares across the nation. That's pretty consistent. California tends to be a little more, but 20 to 25 patients per day, you've broken even and you're ready to make a bunch of money. And so once you get to 40 patients, you're making money. Once
Right.
you get into 40 to 60, you're making money / getting headaches because you get burnout. And then once you hit 60 plus, you're like, I got to go somewhere. I got to add people or locations. So, and I think with COVID was so enticing because without much marketing effort, you can just kind of do it. Okay. You were getting 80 to 100 patients per day.
Right.
And so that means you were making pure profit. We'll just say $200 per patient that came in times 60 every day. And so it was super, like when you're making 12,000 plus profit, a day and then times, so you're making $300,000 or $400,000 profit a month. Yeah, that's super enticing. Right. And there was the demand was through the roof. Well, then of course, as we all know, because this podcast was born during the heart of COVID, like it was still very relevant. And then now we've moved on from COVID, and so now, and we saw that because you guys didn't like talking to us that much the first 2 or 3 years.
Well, that's for sure.
You were like real resistant. Like, well, we got plenty of patient volume. We don't need these guys. But now that the past 2 years, it's been crap. COVID is not driving the demand like it used to. It's kind of fallen off. And now I need to get back to, I got to break even again. And I was so used, we've heard it. I was used to making 80 patients per day, but now I'm doing barely 20. Yeah, right. Yeah, we can fix that for you. So it's coming full circle now. And there's nothing on the horizon right now that's going to create another COVID demand. So like it's becoming one of those, we're important to you guys and you're important to us. And so it's so cool to see the full circle because it was not that way when we first started.
For sure.
Not even close.
Well, it's very encouraging to get the engagement that we're getting now. I like to look at the recent momentum too. We were talking about the 90-day clinic marketing game plan, and then also the strategies with Alan.
We love Alan.
Yeah, Alan's a good guy. And we were talking about strategies for starting and growing in urgent care. And then we had another one with Flip, but that was our first and to date only in-person interview.
And you weren't able to be here.
I wasn't able to be here, and I missed it, but I did get back and watch it.
But we did show her Alabama barbecue afterwards. We went to Creekside Barbecue, which is right down the road.
They get more free advertising from us.
They do. They should come on the episode.
They should do that.
Do an episode. It'd be the best episode.
Walk-ins welcome.
Yeah, come on in.
Come eat here.
No, seriously. And it was funny because I think she was originally from Kansas City.
Right.
And so like she had barbecue background. And then she's like, well, I've never had white sauce. We're like, yeah, you got
it's good.
All that stuff. Ava's super cool. She's done really well. We love Flip. They're good people. But it's so interesting because here's the other thing too. When we first started this podcast, we looked at like Xperity as saying they would never talk to us.
Nah, right.
We're too small. We're just a blip on the screen. Right. And it was pretty true.
I was like, they weren't wrong.
They weren't wrong. And they weren't saying like no to us. We're just like, we're not even going to attempt. Or maybe I tried to attempt with Alan. He's like, I'm not talking to this guy. He's some weirdo. And but it took a couple. I mean, we invested into the industry, and then Xperity was like, "Hey, who are you guys?" And then we went to their event. Well, Hannah did, and she did an amazing job. And then here we are, and then now you've been on a webinar with Xperity webinar. You're going on another one. By the time you listen to this episode, it's probably aired or it happened with Xperity,
right?
And so like, it's super cool to see like that full circle. Cause I keep remembering back. I said, man, if we just had a relationship with Xperity, this would be great. But like, they're never going to talk to us. Right. And now they are, which is super fun.
And we've developed some fun relationships in the industry as a whole.
Yeah.
Can't not mention our friendship with April Gillum.
Yeah. We love April.
She's awesome. And, can't not mention some of the other people that we've just interacted with that we've had so much fun with.
We've had a lot of the leadership off UCA come talk to us, which is super fun. And some of that's changed since they've been on, right?
I don't want to call it turnover, just changing command.
Yeah, changing command stuff, which is the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah, exactly.
And no, so it's like it's super, like we've seen this industry morph since we've been in it, which is super cool.
And I expect a morph in 26 and beyond too, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Like it's there's a lot of moving parts right now.
I'm really digging into what clinics are going to have to become in order to survive and thrive. Not because there's a shortage of patients, but the healthcare industry is just it's in a weird state.
Yeah, it
It's
is.
a weird state.
It is. And the reality of it is the urgent care is the front line. And then you have the hospital system.
And they're treated like the bathroom wall.
Yeah, and it's so frustrating
that's
because
what's frustrating.
What it does, it blows my mind that you have all these people that are in charge of how things are paid out, and they're not acknowledging the urgent care industry. And there's a whole advocacy thing around this, and UCA is doing a good job trying to push it forward.
Right.
But when you just break it down, that a patient going to an ER doctor that could have just gone to an urgent care is thousands of dollars difference in cost, and like from a pure, if they had to go on government pay to make that, like pure tax dollars being wasted, and then insurance dollars being wasted on something that could have been corrected in an urgent care for a tenth of the cost. And like, there's nothing against an emergency. Emergency rooms are super important, but they don't want those people in their facility either, because they're looking at like, I need to treat the person that has a chopped off arm. I don't need to treat the person that's got a bloody nose.
I used to tell you, you're going to be waiting 4 hours no matter what.
Exactly. So. And then the urgent care standards, like we want you in and out in 40 minutes, but also have a good time. So yeah, it's incredible. And I'm hoping like there'll be this overall net recognition of like, man, if we didn't have urgent care, we'd be all really having a hard time, which we saw some of that during COVID. I think there was a lot of spotlighting on urgent care,
right?
Because that was the news of people standing out waiting for their COVID test, and it was either in a car in a tent or it was an urgent care.
Yeah.
That was it.
That's right.
So
it's fascinating how they mobilized during that time. We can go back and have a COVID conversation later, but it was very fascinating to watch how urgent cares got the proper acknowledgement for what appears to be the first time in the history of urgent care, and then just to see how they mobilized and impacted positively their communities.
Yep.
But some of the things that are trending, becoming a healthcare brand, right?
Yeah,
that was a fun episode, to be honest with
Yep.
you. That was episode 197 back on September 10th, so it's not that far.
It's only 2 weeks old.
It's getting a lot of traction, and I think really because people are talking about brand and urgent care in a different kind of way now, because you have to understand that it's not the brand that carries you, it's the service that carries you, and you're focused on a brand. So let's talk about brand. And so I spent some time, you and I spent some time just unpacking the history of it.
Yeah. With the cow.
Yeah, with the cow, with orange juice, all that kind of stuff, and the thought process behind a brand. And if you don't have an understanding of how brand works, you're going to be doing all the wrong things.
Yep.
The wrong things. So that was a fun episode to put together.
And it boils down to brand is all about consistent experience.
That's it.
And if you just boil it down to a simple sentence, like if you can create a consistent experience, you become a brand or something.
I feel like brand, I wish I had said this on that podcast episode.
Yeah.
Brand is the external version of culture.
Yeah.
That's the external, like culture. When you think of a culture, like a company culture, you think of what's happening inside the doors with the people that work there. Brand is what is happening outside of your walls that other people think, feel, and do when they think about your brand. And that's an external culture.
Yeah.
And that's how I look at brand. I wish I'd said that.
Yeah, it really is. Like it is the outward appearance of your culture.
That's it.
It's what your clients and your patients experience because of your culture.
That's right.
And it's real. So,
and when you mess it up, PR gets involved.
It does. It does.
So don't do that.
It does.
Don't do that.
But anyway, like I know we went through a lot of these different things here. There's some other little notes here, but some of this is like, hey, how to make it better.
Yeah, that's
Thanks,
right.
ChatGPT.
Yeah. Just in case anybody's wondering, I logged into our Apple podcast. I use ChatGPT a lot, but I use it as a thought partner, not a replacement.
Yep.
So what I did is I downloaded all of our episodes with all of the analytics and all of the data, and I said, just analyze this for me and give me good information.
Yep.
And it did. It gave me some really good information, and it's funny because I can remember these things.
Yep.
I think that's about what we have for the episode today.
We do. We just wanted to recap, celebrate.
Yeah.
Because as a company, a lot has happened in 4 years since this thing kicked off, and we're so happy that we've made it to 200 episodes because it feels like 100 episodes ago wasn't that long ago.
That's right.
Because even some other things, like we were in a different studio. Well, you call studio. It was your office.
Yeah, this is a studio.
This is a studio.
Yeah.
Our first one was an office with a Yeti mic, which we have now in our conference room.
We're going to be doing a signing day next week, I think, right? For our Yeti mic.
Oh, yeah.
That's what we use it for now.
That's right. So we have people sign. Yeah, kind of forgot.
Yeah.
So we have the original Yeti mic that we had sitting in the conference room with a bunch of signatures on it from team members. And then I was thinking back, we used to record it on Mac's GarageBand.
That's right.
And,
oh God, I forgot about that.
And you would bring in your laptop.
I remember that.
Feeling this, I should have talked this at the beginning of the episode,
Wow.
but no. So here we are now. We have a nice little Mac Mini that's just dedicated to this with a soundboard, all the stuff, microphones. We got it figured out, and this also doubles as like a meeting room for people.
Say we have it figured out for the most part.
We have it pretty well figured out. We run Riverside. Hannah does an amazing job. But prior to that, it was in your office with your MacBook that you would unplug and plug back in, and then hope the microphone would work because sometimes it just wouldn't.
Right.
And then it was one microphone that we would talk together on.
We'd be like all up huddled around it.
So the first like 20, 30 episodes, don't judge our quality there because we also were running my cheap Logitech camera as our video that was right on top of us. And then we even like some funny Halloween episodes that were in there. But and GarageBand was randomly not working.
Right, we did dress up for one episode.
Yeah, you were Thor.
Do you remember the episode?
I don't remember the name of it.
Oh man, we should drop that in the show notes.
Yeah, that was a good one. That was a good one to watch. So that was fun. But like, it's just so much has come so far, and then we're not stopping either. So
we gotta do that in October now. I wish that's right because it fell on a Thursday.
Yeah.
Well, this time it's on a Friday. Maybe we'll do our podcast.
We may have to do a Friday episode.
Well, listen, a couple of calls to action here.
Yep.
I'm gonna make sure that I get in there. First of all, the last review that we received is over 6 months old for the podcast.
Come on, people.
Could use some love and some feedback. Please leave us a review on Apple Podcast or Spotify, wherever you consume this.
Yep.
And the other thing that would really help is if you're on YouTube, our YouTube channel is growing a little faster, actually.
It's picked up steam.
Yeah, it's picked up some momentum. But on Apple Podcast, 76% of you follow that channel that listen, right? 24 don't.
24 don't.
24% or whatever don't, right? The math's there. But it's way less on YouTube where we have maybe, I don't know, 150 subscribers, 160 subscribers, something like that. But we know a lot more people are consuming it than are subscribed to the channel. So please subscribe to the channel. That would be super helpful. And then we like to interact. So leave us some comments. If you're listening to a channel or you're watching on YouTube, leave us a comment in there and we'll respond to you.
And if you could send Hannah an email, maybe you want to say, hey, this is my favorite episode or the episode that got my attention. Love to hear that. Or if you're like, hey, y'all have never talked about this, could you talk about this in an episode? We're very open to that. We don't have all the answers.
That's right.
But we'd love to talk about it. So as soon as send Hannah an email at hello@patientcaremarketingpros.com. I'd love to get the interaction off of that just because we want to hear from you guys. Like we mentioned at the very beginning, we don't get to hear from you too often, but we love to hear more from you. And then the final call to action, because we are a marketing company, if you feel like you have a need for your urgent care, we can fill it with our marketing services.
There you go. There it is.
So,
and if you made it this far, we appreciate you.
We do appreciate you.
I always like to say what you're doing in your community matters. Keep going out, making a difference. And we'll see you on the next episode. Thanks for listening.
See you guys.